What has happened to our beautiful program? Cincinnati falls on the road at Utah 69-66. Thanks for joining us. We are Chatterbox Bearcats. I'm hosting tonight, Nick Niehaus, joined with Eric Lilly. You can usually see us on the midweek show. Charlie and Houdini, Hudson Klauke, they usually do the post-game reaction shows. But I guess when you play Utah on the road and you lose, are we the JV squad, Lily? Or do they call in the reserves? We're the bench unit. I think they're going to call in, though.
I don't know what to say, man. They they gave that to us. Like, they suck. They gave it to us, and we did the thing and gave it right back.
Yep, we sure did. Well, this has turned into a little bit of a call-in show recently, so I'm going to put the link in the chat if I know how to do it. If not, I might need a little help from our producer, but I think I just did it. So, yeah, at some point, if anybody wants to call in and I guess vent would be a good way to put it about the Bearcats' loss on the road to Utah, go right ahead. I'm looking at the chat right now. We are an NIT program. Now, Lily, I want to talk about that real quick. They're not saying NIT team. At this point, this is what we are. You are an NIT program. And until Wes proves otherwise, that's what you are.
I don't decline it. Then we're not. I don't know.
Oh gosh. I don't even know where to start. Actually, I do know where to start.
Yeah.
It's in the second half, and it is the front end of the 1-and-1s. Back to back to back missed front end 1-and-1s. Those are turnovers. Those are absolutely turnovers. I mean, that's a chance for 6 points. You get 0, and then also 2 out of 3 of those trips. I can't even recall the third trip, but they scored on the other end. You know, we had a 14-0 run. Then all you have to do is foul us. All you have to do is send UC to the line, and you'll likely win the game.
14-0 run, then Page comes in. That's what I'm saying. That was awful. Like, I think you had 2 turnovers right after we had a kill shot. And then those 3 front ends during that. Like, the swing, it didn't even feel like Utah did anything, and they went on a run. Like, the Page turnovers are mostly unforced. Free throw shooting was a problem tonight. I mean, Utah sucks too, but we sucked more tonight.
All right, we have our first caller of the night. His name it's titled Sick and Tired. So I'm going to add Mr. Sick and
How we doing, fellas? You got me?
We got you.
Checking if this TikTok mic works. That's the only positive we have. Apparently it does. I mean, dude, if Wes Miller had any fans left, I think they've all turned on him, man. 2-7 in the Big 12, second last. Utah had 19 turnovers. 19 turnovers that we lost. Out rebounded by damn near 20. Just mental breakdowns at the end of the game. I'm sure you guys are going to touch on it or might have already done it when Wes Miller just patted Day on the head when he made one of the dumbest flagrant fouls ever. And granted, they missed 2 free throws, so we got lucky, but Wes Miller's in over his head, man. It could, if it wasn't clear already, it was sure as hell clear tonight. Utah is not a good team, below average. We're bad. We're bad, and I am sick and tired. And I might just keep that as my name for the remainder of the season.
It's you know me, Houdini. I try to find the positives, and the BYU game kind of hit me a little. And I think I'm one of those guys that blowouts don't matter if you have a good culture and you can shrug it off, bounce back. And even like when we're winning in this game, it's the same shit. Like the turnovers, the missed rebounds, the clanks. Like we even I mean, we shot 36% from three tonight. That's crazy. Hell yeah. There's a positive. Shout out Tyler Betsy for showing up, but it's the same shit. I don't know what to say.
How do you even do the show? It's like, I feel like you just say the same thing every show. That's why I was like, you know what? I'll let you guys take a crack at it tonight. I still had to say the same damn thing I said after the BYU game. It's a tough spot to be in. I mean, I guess Wes is still going to be the coach, but I mean, this is an utter failure from the top down. There's not like one positive aspect you can even point out.
This is we almost had a Josh Reed game here. He had some shitty moments, but also some crazy defense down the stretch. But at the same time, it's like, why? Like, how did we get in this position where he's playing? I talked in the offseason after we got Mitchell and Hickman, and I was like, Reed's not going to play. We're good. And here we are. He's playing. He looks like the exact same player as he did 2 years ago. And that's not a shot at Reed. Some guys just don't have it. He's one of them. He's one of those guys, I think, if he got into a MIC program, that you wouldn't see him till his senior year. And even then, it would be like 12 minutes a game. Like fans cheer him like he's a walk-on. I feel bad for Wes, because you can see he cares so much. But now I'm starting to talk about him like he's like just the worst coach of all time. I still can't decide. I know a lot of people just are saying that he's the worst coach. He sucks, bad hire. But is there a chance? I need to think about this more. Is this just a shitty roster build? And that's on him, by the way. Roster construction. Mitchell at the 4, Aziz at the 5. We have a 5 who can't post up and a 4 who can't shoot. And teams are just laughing at us while they play defense. I'm not convinced Wes is this bad. I think this could just be a scenario where it's just awful team building. But at this point, who fucking cares? We should make the tournament regardless, and we're not going to.
I think so. I mentioned this on the halftime spaces. If you listen to that, we also did pregame spaces tonight on Twitter. Mark Titus, who now works at Barstool, but he's always been a college basketball media member for a while. He always talks about the airport test, and that's when you're at the airport and you see a college basketball team roll up, and you're like, my goodness, these guys must be national champions. He's usually talking about Florida State. That was always the bit, is that Florida State always passed the airport test. Utah, these players looked like they should be at Dive Bar in Clifton, just hanging out on a Thursday night. And that is no slight to Dive Bar. I love Dive Bar after my Fifth Third Arena trip. But my point being, Mick and Bob Huggins bullied teams that looked like that. Absolutely bullied them. And there's just absolutely none of that with any Wes Miller team. You don't see the fit. We said it all preseason. We have athletes up and down the roster. They're not getting up in anybody's grill playing defense or anything. What was it at halftime? Houdini 20-9 on the rebounds.
Yep.
It's worse. It's worse after the game.
It got worse.
What is it now?
It's 41-23.
Absolute joke. Absolute joke.
You can say, and Lily's right, the roster construction, I mean, that's clear as day. Not good. And I was even worried about that, even with the hype coming in, that we had too many guys that can't shoot on the floor at the same time. That 100% is on Wes. It's year 4. You got to be able to figure out how to build a roster. But either way, a coach we know we have talent, and sure, it might not be the greatest fit, but you got to find ways to beat Utah. You got to find ways to win games, and he can't figure it out. So, maybe Wes needs the perfect roster. I mean, is he ever going to get that? Usually you're able to mix and match some guys and make something work, fit the players into, or change your system to fit the players that you got. Because, I mean, this is bad. I don't care if we had, 6 guys from a MAC school on our roster. I think we should be able to compete at least to some level in the Big 12. And right now, we're a bottom dweller, man. We're an embarrassment to the conference.
And it's not even like about just beating Utah. It's like if you lose to Utah, beat Kansas at home, beat somebody like good, like to make up for the loss at Utah, because you're going to lose road games. It's just we are at the point where we can't. It's I literally cannot believe this has happened.
Yeah, no, Hudson, we're a bottom dweller, and we just lost to the bottom dweller of the season in the Big 12. Let's open it up to the calls. Also, Chuck is in the comments. Like, Chuck, hop on the show. Why are you just commenting? Like, this is your show. I need you on here because we need
Tell
the takes.
Chuck I got to hop off. I promised
Okay.
I'd actually get in bed before 1 a.m. tonight.
Okay.
So I'm going to hop off. I'll listen. This is sad day for the program.
Well, thank you, Hudson. Thank you for joining us.
I'll tell you why Chuck's not on. His Warriors just beat the Jazz about 30 seconds ago.
Okay. Well, we're going to open it up to calls. Mac, I'm adding you to the stage. Is this is the Mac from Maryland, right?
Yes, sir. How you guys doing?
Awful. Absolutely.
Yeah,
awful.
I know. I feel the pain. First off, I want to say that I appreciate the therapy session. Is certainly warranted. I got to get up for work in the morning, so not going to be long here. But I just in that game, it's just you saw so many just dumb mistakes on the defense, specifically at the end. We knew that Matson was going to go off. We knew that was, he probably had this game marked on his calendar as a revenge game. And for some reason, I don't see that level of enthusiasm with the team to, back in the past, I always reference back in the day, or the old Bearcats back in '92 and even 2000, where they would not allow these type of teams basic. The layups that I saw. Seriously, it looked like you get a couple guys out on the street, and if they play together in uniformity, they could make these plays. Utah looked like that. Like they would execute, and that's great. But the Bearcats are, we are athletic, and back in the day, we would never let that happen. Max Hill would knock them on their. Are we allowed to curse?
Go right ahead.
They would knock them on their asses. Like you go to the hole, they will let you remember that you don't do this again. You might have gotten that one off, but you're gonna either catch an elbow or you're gonna get that ball smacked to the stands. And I did not see this team has that ability, but it's being led by the wrong leader, I think. And I love this coach. He's a good coach. He bought a lot of, the uniforms back, and those things are great. But I am not seeing the coaching, even with I can't even compare him to Cronin at this point. It is like night and day. Cronin would bench a guy if he miss a defensive stance or play or whatever. Cronin's thing was at least 32 to 40 deflections a game. Like, what is the standard? Like, this is supposed to be a decent or a good defense. I'm not seeing that. Like, I know we played some lightweights and we've sprinkled in the Daytons, the Xaviers in there, but I don't think that really battle tested us for the Big 12. Now, I think we got talent there, but it's frustrating, man. I'm not seeing it. So I'll shut up and let you guys speak. But again, thank you for the therapy session again.
Yes.
I appreciate you guys.
We're in this together.
Yeah,
All right.
for sure.
Appreciate it, Mac. Thanks for the call, Mac. I appreciate it. We're going to touch on that. At least Mac has a sick home theater that he gets to watch the game in. That's a positive for him. I will say one thing that he talked about, the leadership. Again, like Hudson said, we just hammer home the same points every single show. There is not a leader on the court. Wes can be a leader as much as he wants, but if there's no peer accountability, and I know he mentioned there's no accountability with the whole Day Thomas flagrant 2. I can touch on that later after this point, but like there is nobody on the court that's going to get in somebody else's grill, like Max Seal and even the other team's grill. It doesn't even have to be to your own teammates, but like nobody is afraid out there to play any of the 5 guys on the court. I'm sure you're driving to the hoop. You're afraid to go up against Eric Hicks and Jason Maxiel. You're afraid. Are they too nice? Are our players too nice of people? Again, this is stuff that has been touched on every single episode. And I mean, John Newman, we made the joke, hang his jersey in the rafters. Trace Fowler, our founder. I think I'm with him on this. And he came on.
I'm with him.
Yes,
I saw that message. Yeah.
I think he spit facts last week about John Cunningham. So I think I just listened to Trace. I think I'm just going to listen to him from here on out. He said, I disagree on the Hart thing. They played hard as hell all game on D. They just don't have good players. Watch the league. They have no inside players that can make plays at all. This is my whole point with the Ken West recruit. Like, go and look at the 3-point percentage each game before. I mean, what did you say? We shot 36% tonight. Go and look at the last 5 before tonight and tell me if defense or heart or effort is the problem. These guys can't shoot. It's looking us right in the face. I keep saying it every week.
I have a slight disagreement with Trace, but I think like his first point is spot on. They're trying. Like, it's not like they quit. Now, they might here soon. I don't know. Hopefully they don't, but they might quit. They haven't yet. I think the players are good. I just don't think they work together. And this is like all just coming to me in the last week, like just from the BYU and Utah game. I like to play things safe and see how things play out. This team just doesn't work together. With Aziz and Mitchell, it just doesn't make sense. We don't have good enough shooters to make up for it. Like if we had 3 guys on the perimeter just spraying threes, you can get away with Mitchell and Aziz at the 4 and 5, right? I think. You need one of those threes to be physical, Rashad Bishop, like we're talking about with this attitude, like guys that scare you when they're walking out of the tunnel. We don't have any of that. And I, as someone who just loves John Newman and loved him and thought like it would be awesome if we had him on this team, I think we're lying to ourselves a little. Like, I don't think if we had him, this is changing. Like, he's not a dog, right? Like, he was just a good wing defender. Like he wasn't someone that scares somebody. Like, we haven't had anybody like that since Wes got here. And no offense to John Newman. I love the guy.
Look, Cincy Light for Sean, please, says, oh, we got to be like Mick or Bob, but their players couldn't shoot either. Maybe not, but they had winning DNA and they won games and they knew how to win. This team doesn't know how to win. We've never won anything. It's year 4 in the West era and they haven't even made a tournament. Whoever said we're an NIT program earlier was correct. What has happened to my beautiful program? Losing to Utah, bottom dweller of the Big 12. I'm going to make one more point, then we got another caller. I don't necessarily think every player's bad, like Trace just mentioned and, what you just pointed out. I think a big issue is when Jizzle has a good game, Dan has a bad game. When CMOS has a good game, Jizzle has a bad game. When Dan has a good game, CMOS and Jizzle have bad games. It seems like it's impossible to have our three supposed best players offensively all play well in the same game. I think even Wes was asked about that last week. Is there something to that?
Before the caller comes in, like, this is a thing. I was going to talk about it tomorrow in our show, but we have one guy all year who scored 20 points in a game, and it was against Arkansas Pine Bluff. This is a stat from Brent Young on the BBP, my guy Brent. But there's just, and Jizzle can do it. We have guys that can do it. Dan can do it, but we don't have that guy that can get us out of stuff. And before the season and early season, I didn't think it was a big issue, but it really is. It's time to admit that from my perspective. I know a lot of you were earlier on this than I was. We don't have, like, Mason Madsen, who barely played tonight, has scored 20 points in a game this year. We have one guy all year that's done that. Mason Madsen's done that. We don't have any big moments this year. Like, just think of a normal season, like how you experience like a buzzer beater before halftime, a buzzer beater at the end of the game, someone scoring 25 points that you didn't expect. None of that has happened. Zero. And Niehaus, our biggest moment this year is a Xavier player missing a shot.
We had it on the chatties. It was
that's our biggest moment this season, is the other team missing.
Yeah. It's sad. It is truly sad. I don't know what to say. I simply don't know. Well, I guess Lily, for the people watching, and maybe you're new to the show, Lily's the eternal optimist. I mean, even when we, lost against Kansas State, he's like, no, we're good. Lost against Arizona, I think we're fine. Kansas put up 40 points. I think we could still make the tournament.
Yeah.
How are you feeling now?
Real quick, Jax Rogan, we're not getting Will Wade. Anyways.
Yeah, we're going to be a year too late on that. We're going to be a year too late on that.
Timing is an issue. Will Wade, clip this, Will Wade will go to Texas. They're firing their coach this year. They will get Will Wade. And my optimism, to your point, Niehaus, my optimism is that, like, maybe, and it's not even real optimism. It's maybe Wes isn't this bad. It's just maybe he just made a shitty ass roster, and it can change next year with Abayev, and God knows how many people are going to leave after this. I think he's screwed probably, because we have 5 seniors, so that's 5 spots. Maybe one of them can stay through to some loophole or something. And then we have other guys that might leave too. It's going to take just one of those crazy rebuilds in one off season to make this a tournament team. And I think it's possible. We saw Iowa State go from 2-22 to getting in the tournament the next year. Like, the portal lets you do stuff like that. But I don't see any reason to believe that it's going to happen at this point.
We will see. All right, I'm taking the caller. Spencer from Philly. I know you called in to Chuck and Houdini last week. Good to see you again. How you doing?
Yeah, guys. Thank you. Guys can hear me?
Yes, we lost you for a second, so
yeah.
I was waiting for you to come back. How you doing?
No, I'm doing well, and you guys are, you guys are doing better than the Bearcats. I really am enjoying the show.
Thank you.
So I gotta say, like, this roster, I kind of agree with Eric that I'm not really seeing the potential on this roster, because this half-court offense doesn't really flow. And Aziz Bandango, guys, I mean, I don't know if he's really a Division I. I don't know if he's a center. He kind of has bricks for hands. He's not coordinated whatsoever. And he's there to rebound the basketball, and you shouldn't be getting out-rebounded. The Bearcats have quote-unquote athletes, but you shouldn't be letting Utah absolutely out-rebound you. And I'm not sure what Aziz does well on the floor. And I got to say, I think it's Josh Reed tonight. He played a little bit better, but maybe you put I'd maybe put Dan Skillings at the center position, and maybe Dan and Dylan Mitchell go small because what is Aziz giving you?
Well, you're right. I mean, I just looked up his stats. I didn't have the box score in front of me. 3 rebounds from Aziz Bandaogo. That is inexcusable from your center. So I don't know, because he hinders your offense, because you have to put him on the perimeter, because he can't put him in the post, because if he gets the ball in the post, it's a turnover. So like everybody's like, what is their center? We had a caller in the Twitter Spaces where he's like, go ahead and look at our center. He's going to be on the perimeter the whole game. And you know what? It's hard to look at for an opposing fan. They're like, why is this the case? It's because if he gets the ball in the post, that ball might break the backboard.
Guys, just think about how much fun it would be to play the Bearcats if you're a coach, if you're a defensive coach, because Dylan Mitchell's not going to shoot a 3. Aziz can't score from 3 feet. Dan Skillings is he's not really a lights out shooter. I mean, he could go ice cold. He's kind of uncoordinated in his own right on offense. And then you have 2 point guards that they just look small. They look like they're barely 6 feet out there. And Jizzle James, it was funny to hear the commentator. You guys heard the color guy today. I guess it's Pete Gillum or something, who said, Jizzle needs to attack and attack. And then it's just I do have a problem with the roster. I like Tyler Betsy. I think that he can be a forward. It's time to think to the future, because this roster, guys, is incredibly easy to defend. I mean, Dylan Mitchell's not giving you anything on offense. And then the other thing I'm going to say is Simas Lukosius. It's tough because these guys are college kids, and they're all good kids.
They get paid.
But Simas, if he's not hitting, he's clunky, and he can't really separate guys in the half court. You got to admit, Simas has trouble creating his own shot. Wouldn't you agree? Isn't Simas only good if you have an elite point guard and he can catch and shoot? What do you guys think about that?
But that's my thing with this team is, like, if you look at all of our players, like our top 6, none of them, like, if you just look at them as a player, they don't suck, but they suck altogether. That's how I look at it. Like if you put Simas on, I don't pick a random top 10 team, you think anybody would say he sucks? Do you think
it's true?
No,
Aziz,
like he'd be a 6 man, maybe Iowa State or something. Like
yeah. But like you mentioned, Skillings and Mitchell at the 4 and 5 when talking about Aziz, and if you have Aziz here and you have a 4 that can shoot, we're fine. Like I just think they don't work together, and I think all together they suck. And that's probably coaching, but it's also probably roster building, which is also the coach. I don't know.
But you really
There's so many things.
But Dylan didn't really play at Texas. I mean, you guys really think? I mean, Skillings is fine, but they're not like great. I don't think there's great offensive players on this team, though. I really don't. I mean, even if they were to go to other programs, that's the tough part about Wes. But the thing I like about Wes, his intensity is great. You could tell that he takes these losses very hard. He has decent chemistry with the guys. He does. Maybe he's too intense. The guys are getting a little bit nervous around Wes, but Wes needs to just let go and have a brilliant offensive coach that he hires. He just needs to hire an offensive guy this offseason. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think he tried that with the shot doctor. I mean, he brought in a coach. His name is the shot doctor. And look at the shooting that has occurred.
You remember Wes's quote, "The lid's going to come off"?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How about?
Come on, it sure hasn't. It sure hasn't.
All
right, Spencer. All right.
Yeah. No. Thanks so much for the call, guys. I'm gonna watch the rest of the show. Right. Thanks for letting me rant. So I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Spencer.
I gotta say, Elijah Anderson, start Arrington Page. We lost the game today because of Arrington Page. Like And this, like, I'm on the Trilly Discord, and someone brought up a point, Nick Owens, XLax on Twitter, and it's something I've been thinking about this week, and I was waiting to see how these games went, and we lost both games, about how Wes motivates his players. He's very positive, and I know a lot of, like, we've been around Mick and Huggins for how long? And we're used to coaches kind of getting into players a little. And Wes is here, doing the clap and building people up. And there's different ways to coach. There's different ways to be successful. We're not used to it as UC fans, right? And the stuff he said about Arrington Page this summer, it's like, it made me start, like, I was like, this is our backup center. Like, we should be getting one more. Let's get one more in. And then we didn't get one more in, and he just keeps hyping him up, and he's hyping other guys up. And Owens brought up a point. It's like, maybe Wes, this is just his thing of trying to build up players with positivity. And we're all buying into it as they're all sick. Like, these guys are sick. Like, Arrington Page is sick. Like, look, he's hyping him up. Our backup centers, he could start for anybody. And at this point, maybe we should start wondering if that type of coaching from Wes, that type of building up young players, isn't working. And it's kind of like leading us astray almost. It's just something to think about. Like, I think the whole, yell at players and all, like, there's multiple ways to be good coaches. I don't think we need to see Wes yell at guys. Like, you can do that behind closed doors, but
I don't know.
We're not starting.
I think I need to see it.
Start.
I need to see it. I need to see him yell at somebody. I do. I need to see it. I think it was ridiculous when Day-Day
It's too late, though.
just shoved.
It's over.
It is too late. He shoved somebody to the ground. Flagrant 2, a tipping point in the game. Walks back to the bench, and Wes just pats him on the head. Mick Cronin would be so far. He'd be up that guy's jersey, screaming at him. It's unacceptable. I just spit, actually. I think I got so upset right there that I was spitting mad. Mick would have spat all over whoever's face that was. I think that is absolutely ridiculous. That shows, like, it's not even so much the act of, like, not yelling at your player, more so than the fact of, like, what that represents. Am I getting crazy there? I don't know. Ryan Marable commented, does SK have any eligibility left? Look, good point. Look, SK is a Hall of Famer, but you're onto something with an alpha. I mentioned earlier, alpha leader. Maybe what we're missing is just like just a absolute scorer. Like, it's hard to say Jaron Cumberland would just change the absolute dynamic of this roster, but is that crazy to say? I think they're probably a tournament team with him, because you're not counting.
That's coming from me. I don't know, man.
You're counting on guys who have never been an alpha to be an alpha, and you don't have an identity of somebody to go to and get you a basket down the stretch. And that, you know what? I remember we were talking about it early in the season or preseason or whatever, and we were like, I don't know if you need an alpha. If this year has told me anything, you need one dynamic scorer. Utah has it with Gabe Madsen. Madsen.
The buckets he got tonight, I was like, can we get that? Like, I love CMOS, but like Gabe,
a guy like Gabe Madsen would never come to Cincinnati. Just saying.
Only for 2 games. Only for 2 games.
We would never get a guy like Gabe Madsen.
And I gotta say,
I hope people. Do you think what percentage of people do you think understood the joke there? Maybe.
Yeah, hopefully 100.
Probably 80. Just like my unpopular opinion on Twitter the other day that I want Wes Miller to do well.
Yeah. And Jay Sella doesn't agree with me about Reed busting. I thought Reed was our second best player tonight. I'm just saying we can't have him be the guy. Like, we should be better than this is all I'm saying. Like, I'm not insulting Josh Reed. I think he's fine. I just think if like preseason with how good we were supposed to be, he shouldn't be on the court. Tonight he was great. Like if we won, I would be like, this would be a Josh Reed podcast. But instead it's a Dan Skillings and Arrington Page lost the game podcast. And Bearcat 101, are we at the point where next season Abeev's success hides Wes flaws? It's too early. We'll see what the portal does. It's going to be more than Abeev. Like, we have to have like a team that works together, that makes sense. And then we'll find out what Wes really is. And if he makes another team that doesn't work together, then we also find out what Wes really is.
Who would you miss? Okay, take CMOS out of it because he doesn't have eligibility. Take Day out of it because I don't know, the JUCO thing. Let's just say he doesn't have eligibility. Who would you be upset with losing?
I don't like this question in January personally, but
okay.
Well, no, this is a topic.
It.
No, this is a topic. Like people keep bringing it up. I personally don't like to answer this in January because I want to see who, if we do spiral out or if we are just bad all year. I want to see who's playing hard. I want to see who's diving for loose balls, stuff like that.
Okay.
But I will say right now.
Yeah, season ends tomorrow.
I won't lose sleep over anybody.
Not a single player.
But I don't think like none of them are trying. Like I don't think there's anybody laying down.
This isn't Moeller High School, Lily. This isn't McNick. I don't care if they're not. I don't care if they're trying. They're not good.
Yeah. If we're building a team that's going to make the tournament next year, I think we need some depth and I think we need some guys coming back that try.
And good culture. Culture means everything. We saw that with the Bengals. Culture does. It means everything. It really does. I don't know. Maybe Abeev does, like the comment that does Abeev mask it, maybe, but I don't care as long as he comes in and if he's as hyped, if he lives up to the hype of what he's been doing, then it changes everything. I'm not counting on it though. Like everyone's like, if you're counting on this guy to be the savior, you're an absolute joke. I'm not. I'm just saying, I think it's possible that he could come in and be an alpha. I absolutely do. You watch the highlights. I've never seen a UC basketball player's high school tape like I've seen Abeev's. The moves that this kid makes, it's insane. It's insane. I'd have to pull up Lance Stevenson highlights from 2008. That was 18 years ago almost. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and you could just tell with Abeev, here we are breaking down OTE film, but he gets to his spots and he gets clean looks. Like he has those NBA moves, the step back, like he has all that. But if it's just that, it's just going to be Anthony Edwards at Georgia. And Abeev is not as good as Anthony Edwards, by the way, not even close. So
no.
We need a much better team around him than Georgia did, and they didn't make the tournament. And Crean got fired shortly thereafter.
I'm just going to go through some of my notes. If we can get back into this game a little bit, I don't even know if people care. I mean, it's 1 a.m. Actually, literally, it's 1 a.m. right now. We still got a good amount of people watching, but free throws, rebounds. You missed the front end of a 1-on-1 3 times in a row. Absolutely. And you know what? You know what makes me upset is that Wes said he's not worried about free throws. Hey, Wes, you are 330th in the country in free throws. You better start caring. I guess you actually, you know what? You probably don't have to start caring because you have a $13 million buyout. Go ahead. Don't practice free throws.
13 million more than we do.
Yeah. If I get fired from this show, you think I'm owed anything? I mean, goodness. I don't know, man. Do you have anything specific that really did it for you today other than Arrington Page?
Yeah, I don't want to pile on Page here because I think Like if it gets clipped and it comes out, I hate paid, blah, blah. I hate that we are relying on him. It's not, I don't think he was ready for this. That's fine. Like he had mono last year. Like he's basically a redshirt freshman. We like if Vic was here or if we got Noah Waterman instead of him going to Louisville, we were linked with him late. Like if we got one more big in here that spreads the floor, something like Page wouldn't even be getting heat because he's just playing 6 to 8 minutes a game. So I don't want to give him too much shit, but like him and Dan lost us the game today, in my opinion. Amongst other people. But the front end of the free throws, it's like how many times in my life are we going to miss the front end of free throws, home and away? I know we've won a couple games the last couple of years with free throws. Just felt really weird. When we win a game with free throws, it's like, how did that happen? Because we're so used to this. And then the loose balls, like that rebound at the end. I was in denial till about a week or two ago about these loose balls. It's like we're getting the bad bounce. It's just going to the other team. It's hitting the rim weird. It's January 29th, so it's on us, right? Like that's at this point, you got to get a loose ball. You got to not lose the ball. Stuff like that. It's draining. Like the last couple of years, just draining as a fan.
Well, we need to start wrapping this up. It's 1 a.m. But I want to ask you this. What do you have a more disappointing season than this one?
Oh, man.
I'm not even talking bad teams. Like we've had bad teams. Sure. Disappointment. Because I keep saying that, you know what? Again, I'm going to go on a little rant here. And so then I'm going to give you time to answer.
You're giving me time. Thank you.
Yeah. The narrative that Sean Abayev is going to decommit is so ridiculous. And honestly, whoever keeps tweeting it in replies to stuff that he's tagged in is doing UC a disservice, even putting it out there, first off. So please stop, because you're A, joke, and B, wrong. And I'll go out on a limb and say that. And if I end up being wrong, I will be the first to tell you that I'm wrong. Lily can tell you right now, I have been on this program and said I'm wrong a lot this year, because that's what UC has made us do, is be wrong. UC is not okay, this take was really great before tonight. UC is not an awful team. They were top 50 in the net before tonight. Top 50 Ken Palm, probably right around it. We're not 4-16 right now. They're what, 12-8? What UC is a massive disappointment to our fans. He's not walking into an absolute dumpster fire. If we were losing to Arkansas Pine Bluff, if we were losing to Xavier and Dayton, like, sure, like absolute awful team. Maybe he might think twice about coming to Cincinnati. I don't think he cares. He probably wants to put up 30 shots a game. And if he's coming into a bad team, he's the alpha. So he probably prefers it, to be completely honest. But I don't even know if he knows how many. You think if you went up to Sean Abayev right now and asked, hey, what's UC's record? No chance he knows. No chance. He got an NIL package, and he got what he wanted, clearly, that he signed. So he's not even committed. He is signed. So if I keep seeing that on Twitter, I'm going to keep seeing it because everyone's going to keep saying it. But to reply to him and be like, oh, he's gone. Oh, he's going somewhere else. Just shut up. Just shut up. Anyway, back to the point. Is this the biggest disappointment?
Yes, but if you're asking me the second biggest, it's Lance's year, which you're too young, Niehaus.
Yeah.
But Lance's year, it had so much hype. I was going to the Devereaux League, like it was crazy. Like the hype before the season. And we had a good start to the year. We got robbed at Maui versus Gonzaga on a foul. Lost the shootout in double OT. And then inexplicably lost at UAB, Elijah Millsap. This game wasn't on TV. Lance Stevenson fouled out on 4 charges and a technical foul. And we just were so close. And then the Deshaun Butler banked in 3. He says he called bank over Lance in the Big East tournament. We were making a little run in the tournament. We beat Louisville, NIT berth, beat Dame Lillard on St. Patrick's Day. I was there. Everybody was in green. Lost to Dayton. That's the second most disappointed I've been. In terms of a whole season, I'm not the Nevada year, whatever. That's different. It's one game. But in terms of a whole season and expectation and just shock, this is number 1 by far. That's number 2. That 2009, 2010.
This is number 1 by far. The biggest disappointment in my Bearcat fandom. What has happened to our beautiful program, Lily? That'll do it. I'm going to give you one last thought. But I got nothing else to say. I am completely tapped out. What do you got?
Should I do a positive thing real quick? Because also shout out Elliot, E-Train. Good stuff. You're a funny guy. Free throws do matter, but they don't matter to coaches. But a lot of our program right now. That's how it's dying. Wes is killing the program. I just want to point out that this is, in terms of, I look at teams and programs differently. We're in the Big 12 now. We have in the grand scheme of things, a brand spanking new arena. If Wes gets fired or moves on, it's not happening this year, guys. Sorry. Next year, we're fine. We're going to be okay. We have this new thing, the Big 12, the new arena. The last couple of hires, we were in the AAC. We were going into the Big East during a scandal after Huggins. This is a new era. We have a ton of support. We're selling out games when we suck. So just a reminder that the world isn't ending. It just sucks because this is year 6 now. After making what? Was it 9 straight or 10 straight?
9 in a row. It probably
9.
would have been 10. I think 10 was COVID year, right?
Yeah, and to be this excited about a season and this happen is just I don't know what to say on the spot. Legitimately, I do not know what to say. So there we go. We're a better program than we used to be, and hopefully we can get better after this.
Here's a positive. We'll end with a positive. Jay in the chat said, I'll be there Sunday for the West Virginia game from Florida.
Whoa.
All right.
We got to win for
Give
Jay.
it up for Jay. Yeah, I'll be there too, Jay. Midweek show. Me and Lily will be hosting it. We'll have it later this week. We'll probably give it a day or so to let this one digest. So the midweek show is going to be later on in the week. It'll probably be the end of the week show. But I don't know, Lily. I don't know how to end this. Make sure you like and subscribe. If you're on YouTube, like. If you're on the podcast in the morning, give us 5 stars. Goes a long way. It really does help us out with the algorithm and such. So that's all I got. I can't even say go Bearcats. See ya.
See ya.